Check, check, check. The reason I got my phone is because of time. I talk a lot. Hamida, thank you so much for sharing. I've known Hamida since she was in middle school, actually maybe even elementary school. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I don't know why I'm so emotional today. I'm never this emotional. I want to tell you guys about the spirit of a refugee, the spirit of an immigrant, the spirit of someone who's coming to this country because of the freedom this country represents, someone who's willing to risk their life. And when I say risk their life, literally risk their life. Someone who would travel from one continent to another continent so then they can walk miles and miles so they can end up in a border and hope that one day they can sneak in here illegally. A mom who the husband is taken away and she's afraid that the people that took the husband away, that they're gonna come, so she decides to risk her life and take her kids to a refugee camp and hope that one day they can resettle somewhere else. Someone who's working really hard and saving every penny they make so they can buy a ticket, so they can go through the process of receiving a visa, so one day they can resettle here. Even multiple denies over and over again through the embassy, but they don't give up. They spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get that visa. Or someone who ends up coming here as a student and realizes that there's nothing for me back home. This is my new home. This is where I've invested to be at. I gotta try to find a job here. I gotta get a job so I can establish myself here. Those are the stories of immigrants that live in our community. Those are the stories of some of your ancestors. I hear stories over and over of the French Canadians, the Polish families, the Irish, the Italians. That's the representation of Manchester for so long. And today, we have the Somalians, Nigerians, Sudanese, Congolese, Syrians, Bhutanese. I can go on. When I put together the piece today, that piece represents millions and millions of people that don't have a voice. My father was assassinated in 1998 after he was stubborn of not wanting to leave the country in the Democratic Republic of Congo when the new government arrived. And my mother told him, "We gotta leave." And he said, "No, I'm devoted to this country. Things are gonna get better," which resulted in his assassination. My father's side of family told my mother, "Give us the children. You're young. Give us the children. We'll figure out how we can divide the children and you can restart your life." My mother said, "I'm not restarting my life. I want my children." And they said, "Sorry, we wash our hands because we don't know what the government's going to do." She started writing letters to different NGOs, and those NGOs, through miracle, were able to get us out of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and we moved to a refugee camp. When we moved to a refugee camp, my mom said, "This is it. This is it. We're here. Nobody's going to chase us and kill us anymore. If we stay here for the rest of our life, we won. We won, Deo. We're here. That's it. We're good." And in that refugee camp, it was a lot better than this. There's a refugee camp in Africa right now, in Kakuma. There's over 200,000 people. They live in this. Something like this. 17 to 20 years. And those people are betting that one day they will resettle to a Western country, but the odds are against them. Less than 1% will ever get a chance to resettle to a Western country. So those neighbors and those communities folks that are former refugees that have ended up resettling here, they're the lucky ones. They're the less than 1%. For my family, we spent less than 2 years in a camp, and we resettled in Manchester, New Hampshire, the coldest place on earth, in February. Came from the equator to the coldest place on earth. And all we had was the hope and freedom that we can have a better life. That's all we had. And people like you are the ones that came alongside us to make us believe that we were going to succeed. And for most people, that's all they come with. They come with the idea that the freedom that this country represents, it's better than anything, that they're willing to risk their life so they can be here. So the story that you saw today, it happens every second. And then when we got here, we're in the richest country in the world. But what Hamida just said, that was the reality for us. My mom realized, hey, after that 6 months is up, the government's helping you, you got to start paying for bills. My mom said, I'm not going to stick around in an English learning class for more than 2 months. I got to get a job. She got a factory job and she started working. Eventually she got a car. Eventually, first she had to get her license, then she got a car. A community member, a family that came alongside us, co-signed her on her first car. Some of you guys are not going to even co-sign your sister and brother for a car, then along some random African lady. But every milestone we received, that's what made us believe that we can succeed in this country. So if you want to talk about the heart of a refugee, an immigrant, someone who's stuck on the border, someone who keep getting deported, but they keep coming back, it's because of the freedom this country represents. The freedom that this country represents is what allows people to give up their life. And we all have a responsibility as a community in how we come alongside the folks that resettle in our community so we can change their trajectory. Just like the families that came earlier. Just like the social services where Hamida's family went to grab food. Just like the after-school programs, just like the ESL teachers. So as you see this presentation today, as you guys are going to engage in different conversations today, I want to challenge you. If you were in a dire situation where you had an option, either you give up and that's it, or you fight for your life, what would you do? You will fight for your life. That's the reason people come to this country. That's the reason why people come here, even though they know they're going to get persecuted. They know that the political structure might not be in favor to them. But the hope and freedom for a better life is what America represents. So I challenge you today, the visuals that you saw today, the stories that you heard, to look deep inside your heart and ask yourself, what is the role that you want to play? Your ancestors had to grind it out here. And this space is created so everybody can contribute. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.